Hey guys, this is Tim Anderson from Marginal Boundaries, and today we're going to talk about something that I cover in the expat guidebook as well as in the Marginal Boundaries. Live Like a Local guides. I talk about it on the blog all the time. It's on the Facebook page, and that is the price of food in other countries around the world where you are living like a local. I've mentioned on the blog multiple times in the newsletters as well that you can save literally hundreds of dollars on produce and meat and everything. All your grocery bills in other countries are pennies in comparison to what they are in the States. I would spend an average of $300 a month in Colorado. Now I spend around $80 a month on the high end per month, and yet I cook 3 meals a day and I eat like a king. How do I do that? Well, by utilizing things like market days in Mexico. I'm going to show you some produce right now so you guys can get an idea of exactly what I'm talking about. So here's some local produce I picked up yesterday and today. I split my grocery shopping days between Tuesdays and Wednesdays because those are market days in Mexico. Depends on what market you go to, but yeah. Anyway, I've got papayas, mangoes, lettuce, cucumbers, tomatoes, lemons, and an onion. And I've also got down here the receipts, which we can straighten these out real quick and give you guys a closer look. There's some things on there other than what I've purchased, like some chicken and some feta cheese. But I really want you to take a look at the prices so you can pause the video and realize that I'm not making this stuff up. These are actually real prices. The cost of lettuce, for example, is pretty negligible. You can usually pick up a head of lettuce for around 4 pesos. It pretty much never changes. But the other things that I'd like to talk about is, for example, I didn't buy any broccoli today because broccoli currently is not on sale. Broccoli right now is running around 16 to 19 pesos per kilo, which is around $1.50 per kilo, so $1.50 for 2 pounds. If you wait for market days, you can get broccoli as cheap as 6 pesos per kilo. It's pretty cheap. But specifically what I'd like to point out here is with this produce in specific that I have right here, I paid 10 pesos per kilo for the papaya, 5 pesos per kilo for the cucumber, 9 pesos per kilo for the mango, 7 pesos per kilo for the tomatoes, and 10 pesos per kilo for the onions. If you go to foodcoop.com and check prices on the exact same produce, you'll find that the average American citizen is paying $1.26 per pound, per papaya, or $2.50 per kilo, $1.75 per pound for cucumber, or $3.50 per kilo, $1.50 per pound for mango, or $3 per kilo. Tomatoes are $3 per pound, or $6 per kilo. Onions are $1.25 per pound, or $2.50 per kilo. In other words, if you were to buy 5 kilos of the exact same produce that I purchased, the average American citizen would pay $17.50. I paid $3.25. That's a pretty big price difference, and it's also why I'm able to eat like a king on around $80 a month versus the $300 a month that I was spending back in the United States. Because the cost of produce here is just ridiculously cheap. And look at this stuff. This is fresh, organic, locally grown produce. Incredibly good for you and incredibly cheap. So there you have it. In a nutshell, that's what I mean when I talk about living like a local in cities and countries around the world and saving literally hundreds if not thousands of dollars on basic bills. If you've ever followed along the newsletter or read the blog post about it, I famously mentioned one time how when I was briefly back in the States in 2010, I went with my mother to the grocery store, to a Safeway in Colorado. And keep in mind that Colorado is actually a kind of a middle-of-the-road state in the United States in terms of costs. And I watched my mother pay $2 for a single cucumber and $4 for a single onion. So she paid $6 for 2 pieces of produce. Now, the pile that I have on my kitchen table right now that I just spent $3.15 on, I got 5 kilos of produce for $3.15. So I bought about 2 weeks worth of produce for a little over $3. Meanwhile, my mother had to pay $6 for 2 pieces of produce. Now, granted, that's not the average bill. This was organic produce, but that's the thing. When you go to these grocery stores in the United States, they're trying to sell you things that you can get for pennies in comparison. And all it takes is opening your eyes and realizing that the world you've been told is real is nothing more than an illusion. You don't have to pay thousands of dollars per year on groceries to feed your family, because you can go to countries around the world where the produce is organic by its very nature, grown by local farmers, and they'll bring it to you and you can buy it by the kilo for pennies in comparison to what you would pay in the United States. So that's the core message that I'm trying to spread with the Live Like a Local immersion guides and the expat guidebook, is that you don't have to spend thousands of dollars a year to have basic necessities like food and shelter. You can have it for pennies in comparison just by making the smart decision to utilize global citizenship rather than only one country in the world. Anyway, that's all that I have for you this week. Go ahead and stay tuned, because there will be more videos coming along at the Marginal Boundaries YouTube channel on a wide variety of topics related to how to live like a local in countries around the world. For more information, you can go to www.marginalboundaries.com.